Hey Mojoholics, I'm Rebecca Brayton, and with me as always is Dan Parody, and welcome to Mojo Connects. With us today we have a man that you may know from Star Trek Beyond, you may know him from Big Ass Spider, you may know him from Alias, or Lost, or Masters of Sex, or from his band, Banned from TV, or from his podcast, an actor, a comedian, and a musician walk into a bar. Or, of course, you might know him as Snap Wexley from the Star Wars franchise. Of course, I'm talking about Greg Grunberg. Welcome, Greg. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Heroes, I think, is the show
Heroes.
Most people know me from.
Right, of course.
But yes, thank you for that list. That was ridiculous.
Hey man, I could have read your entire IMDb page and been impressed. You are on Diagnosis Murder, which is a show I watched.
Oh my God! Skeletons in the closet.
I know, right?
Was that the plot of the show, or what?
No, it was Dick Van Dyke was a detective doctor.
If I get a chance to guest star on some classic shows and work with some amazing actors, I do it. I mean, I absolutely love it. I did it with CSI. I did it with Psych. I did it, but all these shows I'm a fan of, and then there's an opportunity to work on it, and I grab it. So yeah, well, thanks for going down that list.
Oh, for sure. Working with all of these like iconic actors that you've worked with, has anyone ever is there any like behind the scenes story where they gave you a great piece of advice that you've kind of taken with you through your career?
Yeah, I mean, it happens every time I work. I worked with Tony Shalhoub, and I don't remember what I think he said, eat less on set. I think that was a good piece of advice to me. It happens every time I work. It may not be a piece of advice that someone actually turns to me and gives me, but I study all these great actors that I work with. I just worked with Al Pacino and Barry Levinson, and I did I guess you'd call it the Joe Paterno story about Penn State, and it's going to be on HBO. I got to play Al Pacino's son in a movie, go toe-to-toe with Al Pacino. That's ridiculous. I know I've done stuff in my career. I know I'm supposed to be, like, hey, this is my life. This is my career.
I'm an actor.
Get old for me. It's always amazing. And so just studying him hopefully not studying him in scenes, but studying him, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher. I mean, these people, I pull from everybody I work with, and I'm just so lucky to be doing what I'm doing.
Do you think you've ever been starstruck by anybody? Like, to the point where you felt like, this is unprofessional of me as an actor?
When I first walked on the Millennium Falcon, when I first, walked on the set of Star Wars, I'm there with my best friend. J.J.Abrams and I have known each other since we were 4 years old. I mean, he's my brother, and so there was a really a strong level of being comfortable enough that I ignored the rule of not bringing your cell phone on set. And I'm like, taping everything I possibly can. I'm freaking out, right? And I get on set, and I have this scene where I'm standing around, and they turn to me, and they're like, "Snap, did some recon. Snap, what do you got out there?" And this is my moment, I have very few sort of big moments in the movie. Big for me. I mean, it's a small role in Force Awakens, but I'm so excited to be there. Anyway, I say my lines, and I'm looking around, and there's C-3PO, and there's Han Solo and Princess Leia. It's crazy. And after that take, J.J. Kotzen comes over to me and he whispers in my ear. He's like, "Dude, you're watching the movie. You can see it on."
So I kind of want to get your experience as a Star Wars fan. Like, paint us a picture of the first time you saw the movie in the theater.
The first time I saw it, just like most people, it absolutely blew my mind, because you have to remember, I'm an old guy, so I saw it when I was 13, and it was it had just come out. No one knew what it was. We saw commercials, we saw things, but it was a pun intended, a whole new galaxy, a whole new world, characters that you immediately relate to. It blew my mind, and I'm not going to say that that's the moment that I said, "Hey, this is what I want to do for a living," because it wasn't. I'm much more of a comedy guy and everything, but I immediately gravitated toward the movie. I couldn't get enough of it. And Kevin Smith and I have talked about this, how it was the first time that you leave a movie and you're talking about the characters' lives as if they're real people, and you're exploring that, and you're discussing, what could be and what hasn't been, and what came before it, and how did this work. Other things, you might take a life lesson from it. It might move you. You might get emotional. But this really, it changed the way I looked at movies. I got lost in this deeper than I got lost in anything else. Star Wars really changed that for me. And that's what I love to do as an actor. I love to go to work, become someone else, entertain other people, get an emotional response out of other people. But this is something special. This, Star Trek, I don't know. I mean, Heroes was like that too, but it was very relatable. It was the real world. This just opened up a whole new world for me.
Right. Being that you're so close with J.J. Abrams, is there anything that you've kind of, hey, you should do it this way, and that you want to take credit for that he's done, or?
No, not that I want to take credit for. That's a whole other league of creativity that I can't, a whole other level that I can't even get to. The thing that I'm fortunate enough, first of all, he's the greatest guy in the world, and then when we're together, he'll throw ideas at me just like any other, good friend would, knowing that I'm not going to say anything. And it's cool to hear stuff. I'm, of course, the selfish actor just thinking about himself and only himself. And he says something, and I'm like, yeah, how does Snap Wexley play into that scenario?
Maybe Snap could come rescue them out of there.
I mean, in the first movie, or in my first experience on that movie, in that franchise, I got to London. I didn't know really what I was going to do. I went for a fitting here in LA, and then they were all in London. The cast was there. I get there. They're having dinner. I went straight from the airport to this restaurant, and I walk in. There's Larry Kasdan, and there's Kathleen Kennedy and JJ, and the cast, amazing cast. And I'm looking at everybody. It's a Chinese restaurant. I walk in. It was downstairs, and Larry Kasdan goes, "There he is. There's Snap Wexley," and that's the first that I heard who I was playing, and I didn't even care what he meant. Snap Wexley sounded like a human, so I was like, well, I don't have to wear that much makeup, and what does that entail? And then immediately, we started talking about it a little bit, and I was thrilled. I would have done craft service on this movie, but it was such a cool thing. And then while we were shooting, I was smart enough, I think, I'm up in this X-wing. I'm in my X-wing, and turns out it was everyone's X-wing because they just put different people in it. Anyway, we're on the gimbal, we're doing the thing. I've told the story before, but it's funny. They have a series of lines that you're supposed to read, and it's "I got your back," on your left, blah blah blah. And then I nailed all these lines, said them all, added a bunch of stuff that they ended up using, whatever. And then they said, okay, here's a series of other lines we want you to say. I've been hit. I'm going down. This is the end. And I was like, nope. I'm not saying any of this.
Fair enough. I don't blame you.
You were showing us before the show, but this is something I'm extremely envious of. Next to the being in Star Wars thing, obviously, you have an action figure.
Have you played with your own action figure?
You guys need one there. This is one of my action figures. Very cool. Can you see it as a reflection, I think?
Yeah.
But anyway, this is the Snap Wexley action figure. It comes
with a flame trooper,
with a big hook weapon and a bad guy. And then I've got a pop toy. I feel like I'm, it's the holiday season.
No,
right?
plug.
Hilarious.
Which is crazy, dude. At Comic-Cons, I sign these, I sign those, and then there's where's the other one? I have a Lego.
Oh,
yeah, it's nuts.
That's so cool.
I want to be a Muppet.
I've had them. I had an action figure from Heroes, and they made an action figure from Alias, but nothing like this. I mean, this is just the coolest thing ever.
Are you like the coolest dad to your kids? You're Snap Wexley?
My dad was very cool when I was growing up. He was my hero. He's like business genius and everything. And I was like, how do I eclipse that? How do I get the same level of respect? And when my kids' friends, my kids don't brag about that stuff. That's something that I love. But when I'm driving, picking up from a party or something, and they all get in the car, and thanks, dude. And one friend says, hey, I saw you were in Star Wars. And suddenly, it gets out and everybody's chattering about it. Yeah, it's the coolest thing in the world. Are you kidding me? Hey, there's my Lego. Look at that.
Oh, sweet.
That's awesome.
Oh, man.
Come on.
Oh, I'm so much jealous. In a parallel world where you grew up maybe with a different filmmaker as your childhood friend, any creator in the world that you get to be in all of their content and creations going forward into their immensely successful careers, who would it be? It could male or female.
I have to say Barry Levinson would be somebody that I would absolutely have loved to have been in everything that he's ever done. I was talking about it on the set with him. That was one of those moments that I'm like, dude, in Diner, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh, yeah, yeah. And then we're going on and on about all these other movies that he's done and series he's produced. And a guy like that is ridiculous. You know, but Spielberg, I mean, Steven Spielberg, you don't get any better, obviously. I'm stating the obvious here, but that's the same, that level of storytelling where not only are you wrapped up in the stories and the characters are more important than any situation that he puts you in as a you know, a film viewer. An example is, you know, in Jaws when Roy Scheider's sitting at the breakfast table with his son, and his son is copying what he's doing at the breakfast table. I mean, how can you not fall in love with that character and pull for him and root for him and not want him to die and not, you know, care for, and want to take that journey with him? Spielberg does that over and over and over again, and then at the same time gives you that level of popcorn and you know, truly the cinematic experience that you're looking for, getting lost in every film that he does, and creating a reality in every situation, whether it's, you know, on Earth or you know, something that's completely unrealistic and shouldn't be believable, but you're wrapped up in it. Nobody does it better than him. So I would say Spielberg.
So tell us a bit about your podcast. An actor, a comedian, and a musician walk into a bar. What can we expect from that?
There's 3 episodes up now, and we're about to go record the 4th episode. It's so much fun. I mean, it's just it's 2 guys that I absolutely love joining me in a bar, and we do it from a different bar. We're going to start doing it from a different bar every time. It's like and I don't want to say it's barroom conversation, because that tag has been given a you know, a bad quality, but it's,
well, as long as you guys don't walk into a locker room.
Different things. We have a guest every time. Kirk Fox is a comedian that is amazing, and he brings a comedian to the party. Nick Marzak is a great musician, and Nick will do a song, and you just have to check it out. It's called An Actor, a Comedian, and a Musician Walk Into a Bar. The longest podcast title ever, and hopefully people enjoy it.
Have you got any other upcoming projects on the horizon that you're excited about?
I do. This just came out, so if people are, I have a graphic novel that I co-wrote. It's called Dream Jumper, and book 1 did really, really well, and book 2 is out now. It's just, this is something I'm so proud of, and if you haven't checked out Dream Jumper, check it out. Paramount Studios bought it as a film, so we're developing that right now, and the way that came about, what it is my 13-year-old at the time, he was 13, Ben, he had a terrible dream. He woke up, and I was trying to put him back to sleep, and I said, why don't you tell me what that dream is? And, you know, what was it? He's like, oh, it was so real. I said, what was it? And he goes, well, it was like I was me in the dream. I said, okay. And he goes, but I wasn't in my dreams. I said, what do you mean? He goes, I was able to jump in and out of my friends' dreams like a superhero and save them from their worst nightmares.
Oh, my God.
Yes, that was my reaction. I was like, oh, my God. Don't go to sleep. I'm going to get my laptop. I'm going to use stealing this. That's a good dad. He's supposed to steal things from their kids. And so I partnered with Lucas Turnbloom, an amazing illustrator and writer, and we co-wrote this together, and he illustrated it. And it's just, I'm so proud of it. Scholastic put it out. So that's something that's just dropped, as they say. And then I wrapped a movie with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper called A Star is Born. And that is, I just saw that because Bradley's an old friend of mine from Alias, and he showed it to me. It is so good. It's amazing. I don't want to build it up too much, but it's fantastic. Awesome. I'm really happy that I have a tiny role in that, but it's throughout the whole movie. It's fun, really fun. And then, you know, and then the Joe Paterno thing, and what else? And the podcast is really something. Going to record a podcast today. And the interesting thing about this is we have the cast of a movie that I'm about to shoot. The movie is called Max Reload and the Nether Blasters. And if you go on Kickstarter and look up Max Reload and the Nether Blasters, it's a game-themed movie. It's about a kid who uncovers a game cartridge from a ColecoVision game back in the 80s that was supposed to be lost, and he puts it in and he unleashes the evil in the real world. And then I'm the guy who created the game, and so along with these great young actors, we have to go on this journey to stop you know, this force that's been unleashed, and it's really cool. This guys Scott and Jeremy in Arizona are really great filmmakers, and they're wrapped up in the game world. I love. I've done voices for games and stuff, so this was a no-brainer for me to jump on. I'm producing it as well, but that shoots in January. I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Well, before we go, I just want to get your opinion on our poll, which is coolest Star Wars character.
Without question, in my mind, it's Han Solo. That character is so sort of nonchalant, guy, a little cockier than he should be, in over his head at times, and somehow weasels his way and fights his way out. I mean, Harrison Ford, come on.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
There's no cooler character.
No, that's what I said.
Again, stating the obvious. I'm not this Star Wars-ophile who can pull a little character from the back of the bar. I'm just a huge fan of Han Solo.
Well, I totally agree. That's what I said. Everyone kind of argued with me, and they were like, but there are other cool characters. And I said, no, there aren't. It's Han Solo. End of list. Exactly. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.
Yeah. Thank you. May the Force be with you all.
Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.